Hey folks, the time has come. I'm going to do a walk around of the garden today. So something I started really last year, last March, with building some of the boxes that you see inside. And I built them last spring, stopped working on this when it started getting super hot last summer. And just left the boxes over here and started then working on the interior structure. I've already done a video of that, so I'm not gonna go into great depth in that. But on the left side, got the greenhouse. Still got to figure out what I'm gonna do on the ground in there. I've got a lot of green growth on the ground, weeds growing up, so I'm going to put some weed block down in there. Just haven't gotten to it yet. Frankly, it's too hot to do anything in there already, so I got that basically for growing over winter. So when we move things in next fall, they're going to the greenhouse and we'll just continue growing in there during the winter. So still working on this area. I'll just kind of show you in there. So here's what we got in the greenhouse. Put some horse pads in there. So right now I've just kind of got storage of stuff in here. We did do our seed starts in there. So this is kind of the work area where I'm at. This is going to be kind of a seed starting table here. Still got some work to do, shelving up there. Hopefully finish some of that this weekend. Over here is just general storage. Again, kind of tool staging area. But I moved all the bee supplies over here. So in one place, I did have them in 3 places. So this is all the bee supplies. Got some old frames here. That's kind of my beekeeping toolbox. Got all the chicken stuff over here now. So these are some nesting boxes, some feeders. So that's kind of my goal, is to get everything kind of in one place. All the tools, got all them hung. This is pretty straightforward. This is nothing but some scrap 2x4s that I just put a screw into the back of it. Kind of distance them out so I could put all of the hanging tools up there. Pretty easy design, didn't cost me anything but scrap wood. Here is the typical exterior wall. There was a previous video of me building the actual raised beds, so then I just connected those raised beds and then built a wall behind that. The wall is on the ends is a 4x4, then for each panel section there's a 2x6, and then we connected a 2x4 to that so we could connect this 4x4 sheep and goat panel. Now we had tons of this sheep and goat panel. It's what we used to kind of route the goats between barns during breeding season. So I just used what I already had. I think I got 2 panels left, but finally got the boxes completely filled last week. Got some black-eyed peas that germinated this week here. This is Paris Island lettuce, all down through here. This is all peas and beans. This is peas and beans and beets in this box. These are peas here, or beans, I'm sorry. Various types of tomatoes. Started them from seed. And here is my main garden tool. It's nothing but a 12-inch square 4-piece 4x4 goat and sheep panel. How do I use this? I use that for flattening out the bed. And since I'm using a square foot method, for gardening, this is my square foot planting guide. So I just flip it over so that these bars are face down and press it in, and there's my planting guide in the soil. So obviously I don't put it just in the middle. I put it up here in the corners. Press it down, and there's my square foot section. So from here I got 9 little planting grids. Go to the next one, press it down, there's my planting grid. This is really all I use for planting, is just this little gadget here. When I want to flatten out my soil, just do just like that. So that's my single tool. Occasionally use a shovel. So I'm going to be getting these beds planted this week. Got some other plants already done in here. Kinfolk Farm of Georgia, Shane got all of his muscadine grapes from a nursery up in Georgia called Ison's Nursery. So I checked out Ison's Nursery, and not only do they do muscadine grapes, but they do other plants as well. So I got what they call their berry pack, and these are raspberries. I got 6 different varieties of raspberries from Ison's, and those are planted around the perimeter of the structure in these areas where I don't have boxes. Another one here. This is our brown turkey fig tree. And you kind of see these leaves. This is from the frost from last week. I'm going to be trimming those off this weekend. So we had a late season frost after our average frost was supposed to have passed. So some of the stuff got a little bit damaged, but nothing long term. More of the raspberries. Couple more of the raised beds. Again, these are not even planted yet. I'll get these planted this weekend. Coming around, more raspberries, and then we've got 2 blueberry bushes. So this is a Brightwell and a powder blue blueberry bush. Doing exceptionally well. Again, all of these raspberry and blueberry bushes are all from Ison's Nursery up in Georgia. And then we got some other stuff that we've had in the ground for a couple of months now. These are potatoes. These are container planted. Again, you see these brown spots on top. That is from the freeze from last week. I'll trim those off. In a couple of weeks, you'll have so much growth on here you will not even know that that they were impacted. So I've got the red containers. There's 2 of those. The red containers are red potatoes, and the green green containers are white potatoes. So I'll be harvesting those in a couple of months. They're doing exceptionally well. Over here I've got all of our herbs, and most of these did exceptionally well, even despite the frost. But you can see these right here. This used to be basil, and the frost killed the basil plant. So that was Genovese basil, and this one was sweet basil. Both of those were killed. Sage bounced right back. So did the mint. The rosemary, is lemon balm, cilantro, parsley, dill, and oregano. So the spices, they did pretty well. Right now I've just got them sitting on these plastic pallets. If you can find some of those plastic pallets, sometimes you can get them from yard sales, and pick them up. They are incredibly useful. Eventually what I will have are container platforms that will be one over there, one over here, and they will be hooked into the sprinkler system. But for right now, I just got all those containers sitting up on the platforms just to kind of keep them off the ground. So 8 weeks ago, I dug a trench to connect our water system into the garden area, and it comes all the way over from the buck barn, way over there, comes down the fence turns and comes down that fence and then comes through this gate here, right along the greenhouse, and comes into this manifold. So still working on getting everything hooked in, but I put a hose bib here so that we can, so this is how I've been watering right now, is just using this orange hose. But hopefully this weekend I will get that bank over there of boxes hooked into the manifold. So I'm gonna have to dig a hole from that end, so that pipe is kind of ended over there, and then the trench will come all the way over here. I'll be able to hook the water in, and it will hook up to this valve right here. This side will hook up to this valve. This side over here will hook up to this valve, and then these two valves in the middle, those will feed the container platforms and additional raised beds that are going to be in the middle out there. So each one is isolated, so it's just a matter of just hooking it in, and each one of these is independently isolated from the other zones. It'll have a timer on it, so they're all live. So it's just now a matter of just hooking them in. So when I hook it into the manifold, it will come over here. I've already got this PVC hooked up. It will be tied into this pipe, which will be attached to the back corner as we run along the back of the bed. Each raised bed will have its own isolation valve. Each one has its own pressure reducer, and then that will hook into a above ground drip irrigation system. So I got all the materials. It's just a matter of having the time to put them together. So I've been asked already, why do you have a reducer on each bed? This water is coming from the green building way over there. That's our main water pump house. It goes from there all the way down to the main barn, where we were with the rabbit, where the rabbits and the kittens were. Then it goes to the buck barn and then comes over here. So despite it only being less than probably 50 yards over to that pump house, it actually is about a 400 foot, 500 foot maybe run, maybe even 600 foot. It's a long run to get over here. So I want to keep as much water pressure coming out of that manifold as I can. So I'm going to reduce it at each bed. You know, these reducers were about $3-4 a piece. But I'll be able to isolate each bed using this valve, turn each bed off. Each main water supply area is going to have its own timer and its own inline filter, and it's just a matter of putting those together. So we've got all the equipment we've already got. So here is the timer that I'm going to be using, and the inline filters here somewhere. Here's the filter. That's the filter that's going to be going in, and that is the timer that's going to be going in. So we got 4 of each of those. So as you can see, I've been a busy fella putting this together. So what we got next steps is to put weed block fabric around this entire interior. Right now I'm trying to source some wood chips. The wood chips is going to be in the paths inside of the garden enclosure, just to kind of cover that weed block fabric. Hope you enjoyed this, folks. Always remember, treat others as you would like to be treated. Be well, friends. Bye-bye.